My friend, let's call her Sarah, was always a bright and driven individual. She had a knack for turning ideas into reality. So when she decided to open a self-serve frozen yogurt shop, I was excited for her, though admittedly a little apprehensive. Don't get me wrong, I love frozen yogurt as much as the next person, but it seemed like everyone and their grandmother was opening a yogurt shop at the time. But Sarah, ever the optimist, was convinced that her unique flavors and trendy location would make her business a success. Initially, things seemed to be going well. Sarah's shop was in a prime spot in a bustling neighborhood. The first few months saw a steady stream of customers, drawn in by the initial buzz and the promise of exotic yogurt flavors like acai berry and lavender honey. Everyone I spoke to seemed to be talking about Sarah's shop, and I have to admit, even my inner skeptic started to believe that maybe she was onto something special. Looking back, it's clear that the initial success of Sarah's shop was heavily influenced by what we call the bandwagon effect. This cognitive bias describes our tendency to do things simply because many other people are doing them. It's the if everyone else is doing it, it must be good mentality. Think about trends in fashion, music, or even investment decisions. We are often swayed by the crowd, assuming that the popular choice is the right choice. In Sarah's case, the hype surrounding frozen yogurt shops, fueled by social media and word of mouth, created an illusion of guaranteed success. This bandwagon effect is deeply rooted in our psychology. As social creatures, we are hardwired to seek conformity and belonging. Following the crowd provided our ancestors with safety and survival advantages. In the modern world, this herd mentality can lead us to make irrational decisions, especially when it comes to assessing risk and opportunity. The problem is that just because something is popular doesn't mean it's necessarily a sound investment or the right choice for us. As the initial buzz around Sarah's shop began to fade, so did the customers. It turned out that while exotic flavors were fun to try once or twice, most people preferred the familiar comfort of classic vanilla and chocolate. Sarah found herself with a shop full of unsold lavender honey yogurt and dwindling profits. Instead of reassessing her strategy, Sarah doubled down on her initial investment. She poured more money into advertising, hoping to recapture the initial excitement. She even took out a loan to renovate the shop, adding more flavors and toppings to attract customers. This is a classic example of the sunk cost fallacy in action. This bias tricks us into sticking with the decision because we've already invested time, money, or effort into it, even when it's no longer the best course of action. We justify our continued investment by telling ourselves that we can't give up now, that we've already come too far. But the truth is, past investments should have no bearing on our current decisions. The money and time are gone, and the rational choice is to focus on minimizing future losses. Throughout this ordeal, Sarah remained surprisingly upbeat. Even as the bills piled up, she remained convinced that her business would turn around. She would often tell me, "Don't worry, people are just on their New Year's diets. Business will pick up in the spring." This unwavering optimism, while admirable, was another cognitive bias at play, the optimism bias. This bias refers to our tendency to overestimate the likelihood of positive outcomes and underestimate the likelihood of negative ones. While a healthy dose of optimism can be beneficial, it can also cloud our judgment. In Sarah's case, her optimism prevented her from seeing the writing on the wall and making necessary adjustments to her business strategy. She continued to invest time and money into a venture that was clearly struggling, clinging to the belief that things would magically improve. The optimism bias is a powerful force, but it's important to remember that hope is not a strategy. We need to be realistic about our chances of success and make decisions based on evidence, not just wishful thinking.